why don't you give us your perspective, Roby?
Well, I think that the thing, again, kind of thinking about this problem through the perspective of you got public and you got private. One of the things that scares a lot of companies is like, what do I do with all this volume? Like there's so much that's coming in already. Like how do I manage this volume? And it's really extraordinary because when you go from public to private and you start to solicit and you start to really be proactive, you get a lot more feedback, right? And I think David's going to talk to how this feedback, you can even shape the stream, and you just get a lot more feedback. And so people get a little bit afraid of like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with all this? I don't have enough time maybe to monitor my public app store. Then you start to work with AppFollow, and they drop that load. They make it easier. Well, now once you start to do it privately, again, that volume problem happens, and it's like 100x because people inside your experience are really vocal, especially if you're quick. But one of the things that you could do with digital and what we make easy is that you can really focus on who you're getting the feedback from. And that's a big, innovation from what we've seen in a lot of the CX space, where using email surveys with low response rates, you're going to an entire customer base. Well, now in digital applications, you can say, here's a customer who is on my loyalty rewards program. They've been here for 3 months and they made 2 purchases in the last 60 days. That's really who I'm trying to learn from. And I have 2 questions for them. When you do that, well, a lot of times the team just says, okay, we've got the answer. Now, we don't have to sift through this. We've got a very clear answer from the people we're trying to listen to. And so that makes it a lot easier to really take this to the next level of you segment your customers, you understand what their experience is, and then you can really quickly answer questions that are important to your business. And when you do that internally, you move from the place of a bunch of teams saying we should get more feedback and we should listen to it, and then complaining and struggling with how to analyze it, to a place where the company starts to iterate around the feedback and says, we have a process and we can do this in this way to talk to these customers. And we will do this every time we ship a new meaningful feature launch. And so then that feedback that used to maybe be a hobby, right, inside the company, fundamentally, where somebody does it when they have the time, they open up Excel and they spend a few hours tagging the analysis, it becomes now part of the process. And when it becomes part of the process, then what you've got is like a maturation of a product org, a CX org, and an insights org, and oftentimes the marketing org. And I don't want to tip my hand too much, David, but like messaging gets better when you listen to customers about what's going on. And so that's a place where you move from like really thinking about feedback as we should do something with it, to analyzing it and then actually driving actions, because now you're driving your messaging, you're iterating, and the team is consistently actually putting a process in place to collect feedback on new product launches and initiatives.
All right, let's turn to you, David. I know that Ouro used customer feedback to drive revenue. Can you tell us a little bit more about that story?
Yeah, absolutely. Jeannie, you brought up an interesting personal use case, which was, when was the last time we went to a traditional bank, right? I'm the same way. And Ouro, we're in the digital banking space, the neo-banking space. So you can see where I'm kind of going with this and the importance here. Being on the marketing side, revenue is our focus, right? So our use of, and let me preface with, I could expand on this for hours. And I know we have limited time here, but truly the depth of this topic knows no bounds. But our use of Ouro products has been very well received internally, and has been one of my favorite partnerships, during my time here at Ouro, mainly because it's worked so well for us. So a little background: in 2023, we began efforts to ramp up our online reputation across all digital touch points and areas where we would receive feedback, like the App Store, for instance. Now, why was this improvement of this digital word of mouth such a key initiative for us? Well, testimonials, ratings, reviews, these are all key components of organic word of mouth marketing, right? Especially in a digital space. Their utilization extends from the organic acquisition arena, post-acquisition, paid acquisition. Its impact is felt across lines of business, both for organizations small and large, right? So even customer feedback at a micro level is very important. So advertisers like myself sometimes forget or even neglect the fact that something like a customer comment on an ad, say on Meta or TikTok, even have an algorithmic effect on your ad performance, as well as a consumer psychological effect, right? You're less likely to purchase something if you see a bad comment right underneath it. This is all really to say customer feedback, this digital word of mouth, these are quintessential elements of success, future-proofing, scaling, everything really to do with the growth of your business. In fact, I have some interesting statistics, I'd like to run through quickly. 92% of Nielsen surveyed customers believe their friends and family over any other kind of advertising. That's word of mouth, right? 2021 Dynana survey showed, not to get Family Feud here, but surveys showed that 42% of consumers learn about new businesses, new products through word of mouth. And then my favorite survey statistic here, an RRD survey of 1,000 customers, 55% said they learned about new products through reviews, 40% made purchases based on those reviews, and 28% would rather use a review over any other form of discovery. And we were able to back this up in our testing as well. So that brings me to how we use at Ouro the Alchemer products. We began ramping up efforts for acquisition via an app path, meaning download our app, become a customer. That was something we had never really used as a means for acquisition. We were great on the servicing side, so become a customer, and then we'll get you onboarded through the app where you can check your balance, make transactions, things like that. But we had no real product or marketing ownership over reviews, ratings, the feedback generated from our marketplace listings. So my team made the nurturing of these ratings, of this feedback conduit provided by app reviews a top priority in 2023. And by implementing Alchemer's survey and love dialogue, we saw some magnificent results. So we started out with a 2.1 star rating blended across both iOS and Google Play stores. We took that to a 4.8 star rating, so tremendous improvement that put us at the top of our financial services category. The most impressive statistics from that was that we were able to do it in a little over 2 months, 9 weeks, which is a Herculean effort to say the least. And then secondarily, we were, and not secondarily in terms of importance, but we were also able to gather customer level experience and customer level product feedback in ways we had never been able to capture before. That helped enhance our current product and gave us learnings for future releases. Roby, you talked about retention and things of that nature. I think a common problem that organizations see with feedback is they get a ton of it and they don't know what to do with it. I think one of the greatest product adds from the Alchemer side is the ability to classify and organize these feedback into literal action items. So I can export survey responses, send them right to my customer service team, and it won't have product overlap. I can send it to my product team and it won't have customer service overlap, increasing the time to response and increasing the time for product road mapping. So this ability to add yet another direct conduit from customer to marketing, from customer to product, from customer to customer service became extremely important, not only from product side or customer service side or acquisition side, but really from my perspective, the marketing side, where we were able to drive improvements in things like NPS, app power, conversion rates, all from these star rating increases, as well as, again, the ability to further nuance and refine our ad collateral, which Ruby, you touched on earlier, by leveraging things like app reviews in our creative assets. So using reviews for messaging and creative, using our star rating in creative, using feedback surveys to drive adoption, retention, and improve our product overall. And really, how does this drive revenue for our business? Well, firstly, a giant impact on organic conversion rates. We're at a massive scale. We saw a 12% increase in Q3 of last year directly as a result of our work with Alchemer and their products. This helped increase our word of mouth back, drive new paths for product roadmaps. This led to increases in retention, adoption, and really helped our customer service team be better prepared for our customers who are facing issues, who may be facing issues. And then lastly, leaning on an always on, always engaged feedback loop from our customer to our product to our marketing team, which is really one of the key takeaways I want for the audience today. It's Darwinian. It's evolve or die. It's no longer a who's first in market. It's no longer a 100-meter sprint. It's a cross-country multi-marathon of constant lead changes and evolution. And if you think about companies that do it really well, you think about companies that do it really poorly. I'll start with the latter: Kodak, Nokia, most recently Skype. Kodak was the first in market with a digital camera. They went bankrupt in 2012 because they decided to focus on the traditional film, despite their customer feedback. Nokia created the first cellular network. We all know about their indestructible devices. Where are they now? They got lapped by iPhone. They got lapped by Android in the late 2000s. And then most recently, Skype. Skype in the pandemic market. They blew a huge product lead, right? They had a massive market share. Now I don't know any companies or firms that use Skype. It's all Teams, Zoom, Google Meet, right? Conversely, products that do this well, they're set for the scale and future and growth. They're not only thriving, but they're set up to succeed, almost future-proofed. CPG, like Unilever, they have an open innovation portal where they collect customer feedback that directly influences their products. IKEA, the Co-Create platform, and Lego's Ideas platform. The impetus for success starts with an open ear to your customer, and in this digital age, not to use a cliche, there's really no excuse not to act on this feedback.